We're sitting down with Tim Cogan. Tim was Kettering Fairmont girls basketball coach from fall of 2000 to winter of 2013. So he coached for 13 seasons. After 10 seasons as an assistant in the boys program, Tim took over as head coach of the Lady Firebirds basketball team at the beginning of the 2000-2001 season. During his 13 years at the helm, Tim elevated the Lady Firebird program to one of the elite programs in the state of Ohio. During the Cogan era at Fairmont, the Firebirds won 6 GWAC titles, 8 district titles, 4 regional titles, and 1 Ohio High School Athletic Association state championship. His overall record during his tenure as head coach was 245 wins, 77 losses for a winning percentage of .761. In 2010, the Firebirds began a run of 4 straight trips to the state Final Four. After losing that first year in the semifinals, the team made it to the state championship the next 3 years. In 2011, the Firebirds lost to Twinsburg by a score of 55-42. Followed by a 57-51 loss to the same opponents in 2012. But the third time was a charm as Fairmont and Twinsburg faced off in the championship game in 2013 for the 3rd year in a row. In a thriller, the Lady Firebirds won their elusive state championship by a score of 52-48. Upon achieving the ultimate goal for any coach in Ohio, Tim announced after the season that he was stepping down as head coach of the defending state championship Lady Firebirds to coach his sons as the head boys basketball coach at his alma mater, Carroll High School, a position he continues to hold to this day. Tim still teaches in Kettering and coaches at Carroll. He and his wife Brenda have been married 28 years and they have 4 children, Lexi, Joe, Matt, and Carly. Tim, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
In the 20 years you coached boys and girls basketball at Fairmont, tell us who were some of the people who influenced you as a coach aside from your players.
Well, my dad was a coach, and that was first. Growing up, I was always around a football field or a basketball court, and so it started there. I think it was ingrained in me. But you know, coming into Kettering once I graduated from college, people like Mickey Morgan giving me the opportunity to be a coach here, Tim Casey, obviously learning under him, Rick Robertson, Roger Heinisch, and you know, Bill Steger for hiring me in this district. And going for 10 years as a boys assistant here and doing things, I learned a lot from those people and how they do things and how they ran programs. I learned some stuff from you at Kettering Junior High back in the day when that finished and went to middle school. But you know, you and Mike Kazarek, and so I've been blessed
to be. You succeeded anyhow.
I did, but you know, I've been blessed to be around a lot of great people.
Tim, one of your former players, Christine Grimmie, who was a great kid.
Yes, she was.
Talked about how you created a basketball family.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Well, you know, I was very hard on our kids and demanded a lot out of them. But they had to understand through good and bad, we were a family and we were all we had. And we can't listen to outside entities. And whatever we do, we got to stay together because we're all we have. So we really stressed that family-oriented atmosphere, and it ended up being on the back of all of our shirts as time went on.
I keep hearing about the Dream Team.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So we started that probably 3 years in, maybe 4 years in, where we've got athletic boys in the school that I maybe taught in phys ed or whatnot, and asked a handful of them to come out and go against our girls, because you can't simulate that speed girl on girl, but you get some guys in there that are a little bit quicker, more athletic, really help prepare us for teams that maybe were bigger, stronger, faster than us, and it paid off. And we did. We ended up doing that ever until I left.
Did you have any trouble getting guys to do it?
No, you know what? They respected the girls, and they liked, you know, the success they had. They came out and watched, and they were our biggest fans.
Was it? So it was kind of a badge of honor for them.
It was. It was. It was a great thing.
Great idea. Tim, you take over the Lady Firebirds program after the 1999-2000 season. Now, coaches are notorious goal setters. What were your first goals after taking over the program?
Well, we wanted to build a program where people believed in what we were doing, and that's a huge thing when you get them to buy in. And obviously, winning helps cure that quickly. But the main thing was that they bought in, they came to work each and every day, and they gave us everything they could, and they did. And year in and year out, we continue to get better and better and better. And it's from the girls from the beginning all the way to the end. It's a full cycle of building that program.
Sometimes raising expectations is a huge part of starting as a new coach.
For sure. We used to always say it's all about winning, but we'd explain the concepts behind that. It's not about the points on the board, but pretty much winning in everything you do in aspects of life and on the floor.
Tim, Cassie Sant is one of your fellow inductees in the Hall of Fame class of 2023. What was it that made Cassie so special?
She was very unselfish. She had a lot of talent, but was a great teammate. She was never one of those kids where it was, some players, they know they're good and expose that. She just was a blue collar, extremely hardworking girl who earned everything she got and ended up getting a full ride to UD.
Tell us about the journey to the state Final Four during Cassie's senior year.
Well,
no Lady Firebirds basketball team, and we had some really good teams along the way, but no Lady Firebirds basketball team had ever been there before. Talk about the journey.
Well, we were the underdogs in the regionals, and we ended up beating Springboro in the regional semis, and then we beat Butler in the regional finals. They were 6'4", 6'4". They had twin girls. We had Cassie, we had Chelsea Welch, who was a freshman, Amanda Turner, Jessica Beatty, Holly Carey, and we were Kelly Hart. We were pretty much average on a lot of areas, but they bought in. Obviously, having Cassie helped. Chelsea Welch did a phenomenal job her freshman year at her point guard, but it was amazing and a great opportunity for us to get to state with a group of kids that most people wouldn't have thought we would have got there.
So you go to Columbus.
Yep.
And you're one of the Final Four teams in the state.
Yep.
Tell us about the game.
It was a heck of a game. And to this day, Holly Carey got 3 fouls, and we didn't know that. We left her in a little too long. She got her 4th foul, and she was hot. I think we lost that game by maybe 6, something like that. It was close. And, it was an exciting game from start to finish, and they were pretty good, Toledo Waite. But, we pulling Holly off the floor, not having that shooter late in the game when she ended up fouling out, that hurt us a little bit because they were really keen on Cassie. But it was a great experience for us to get there. And by them getting there, those younger girls coming in continued to fuel that, and we were on a journey.
I was still at Fairmont as a counselor at the time, and I remember you guys left in the middle of the day to get on the bus to go to Columbus, and anybody who was available came out to see the bus off, and I remember running out from my office just to wish everybody luck. And I wasn't the only one out there. There were lots of people out there.
That was very special. It was for the girls to experience that atmosphere. It was awesome.
Yeah. Okay, Cassie graduates, the Ohio Player of the Year, and in comes a great freshman class on cue.
Yep.
That young team advances to the state championship game. Talk about that.
Well, we were young, very young, had a lot of young girls, and but they came in and they knew what the expectations were. I actually worked with a bunch of them when they were 8th graders to prepare them for who I was and get a feel for my demeanor. And when they came in, they were all business at a young age, 15 years old. And we had to talk to a lot of them about staying humble, because at that age, a lot of them were already getting looked at by colleges. And they stayed blue collar, and they stayed hungry, and they did a phenomenal job.
Talk about the game.
Well, that first game we got there, that was tough, but we were so young to get to that final game. And Twinsburg was loaded. They were good. And we handled ourselves great. It was a tough game, and we ended up losing that first one. And then we went back the next year and had to play them again, and that loss hurt more than anything. And the girls, it was almost like, okay, we've been here, what's going on, what's it going to take? And it's just amazing that it ended up being the same team again in the last year.
So you go to the championship game 2 years in a row against the same opponent.
Yes.
And you lose both times.
Yes. Very frustrated after that second loss.
Did you at any time think to yourself, we've had 2 shots and no championships, maybe it's just not in the cards for us?
Well, as a coach, you always have second guess a little bit. You know, you work as hard as you do, and you get there, and things fall short. But we were in the regional semis with that last team in 13. We were down to Mason by 10 points, and we're talking maybe 8 points with a minute 48 left in the game. And we came back and found a way to get it to overtime. And that group was on a mission. I mean, we got to get there. And winning that game was huge, just to come back and then turn around and beat Centerville in the regional finals. And when we got there that year, I felt pretty confident that we were going to finish the chapter. So.
Okay, then of course, you make it to the championship game for the 3rd straight year.
Yeah.
Against the same Twinsburg team who beat you the 2 previous years.
Mm-hmm.
Take us through the experience of winning a state championship.
Well, there's a lot going on. And it was great for the kids to get that because they put in so much time and so much effort. Like Chelsea and Alana Skipper were seniors, and they finally got that ring. And those other girls that were juniors, it's a lot for them to be able to remember that for a lifetime is awesome. And the community of Kettering, it was just outstanding, and the support. And then, all can come to speeches. And I can't tell you how many speeches I had to give on that. But it was amazing. You just really can't ever imagine until you get that, what you're going to feel. And just the gratitude and stuff from the community, it was awesome.
Again, tell us about the game.
That was, you know what?
It must have been a barn burner.
It was a close game. And
My wife was there. I
Yeah.
could not make it for some reason.
It was a close game. They were good, and they had a run of kids that went through there. They were well coached, and you win 2 state championships. You're feeling you're going to get another one. But we kept the lead in that game, enough lead where it was 3 to 4 points most of the game to feel somewhat good but nervous. And we finished it in the last minute of the game and hit some big free throws and closed the deal, and it made history.
But it usually comes down to
does,
the
yes.
free throw line.
Oh yeah, yep.
Tim, thousands of great coaches in every sport have never experienced the thrill of winning a state championship. You're one of the elite few who have. Describe the feeling of achieving the ultimate destination as a high school coach.
It's amazing. I mean, it is, and it's something I think people remind me of it more than I think of it. But it's amazing, and it's something that, you're right. It's very difficult to achieve that in any sport. And I'm just blessed that I was surrounded by such great coaches and players to help us get that, because it was definitely a community effort.
You win state. You're the toast of Kettering. I'm sure you didn't have to buy a drink for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
It's not like the cupboard's bare, because you got many of your top players returning the following year,
Right.
poised to make a run at defending your state title. And you step down
Yeah.
to take the boys basketball job at Carroll. Describe the process that went into making what had to be a very difficult decision.
It was very difficult. Had a lot of love for the players that I had coming back, and the respect I have for Kettering City Schools, being a teacher for 30 years. That was tough. There was a lot of people I had to sit down in closed rooms with and talk to, and explain why, because it doesn't make sense. Why would I leave that, right?
Right.
But when it came down to the opportunity to coach my sons and get to see my daughters play their sports, my oldest daughter was playing volleyball at Carroll at the time, varsity, and I didn't miss any of that. So it was an easy decision based on that. I got to see all 4 of my kids. I got to coach both my sons, and that was a great memory. And then I got to see every one of my daughter's volleyball games and be a part of their process too as a high school athlete. And I think my kids at home embraced me being there. You never know how that's going to go with Dad being a coach in the building. But it worked great, and it went well, and I really wouldn't change that for the world, because now look at it, they're all out, they're in college and their jobs, and I would have missed a lot.
You get one shot at watching your kids grow up.
Right.
And you made the right decision. You are eminently qualified to answer the question that has stumped people for thousands of years. What's the difference
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
between coaching and motivating girls as opposed to boys? What's your secret?
And my answer to that, and I've always said the same thing, absolutely nothing. You treat them as players. And our girls, I think, respected the fact that I was very hard on them. And I think there's no difference. I mean, there's some emotional differences in pieces that may have, you know, I think girls tend to care a little bit more things than guys do. But as far as how you coach them and how you inspire them, they're human beings. You go out there and you embrace them and you expect the most out of them. And that's how I've always felt about it.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
You're a humble man, and you don't like to pat yourself on the back, but I want you to put that aside for 1 minute here. What are you most proud of as a high school basketball coach?
That I'm able to get young people to buy into what I give them. And how I try to help guide them in the right directions in life.
That's a gift.
Yeah. Yep.
I go back with you to the beginning of your career. You taught with my wife, Carol.
Yeah.
We consider the Cogans to be great friends of ours.
Absolutely, yes.
And I am so happy to see you get this honor.
Oh, thank you so much, Larry. Thank you.
Congratulations,
Thank
friend.
you so much. I appreciate that.